Do you want to improve your English speaking skills? I want to help you with that. Before we start, make sure you subscribe to my channel and also get your free grammar booklet from the link in the video description. So let's get this video started. How do you improve your English speaking skills? In this video, I want to talk about one technique for improving your speaking. It's my favorite technique and it's something called collocations. So what are collocations? Collocations are combinations of words that sound natural together. For example, in English, we don't say he's a high person. We say he's a tall person. So a tall person is a collocation. It's a combination of words that sound natural. People might understand what you mean when you say he's a high person, but it doesn't sound natural. And sounding natural is one of the main ingredients of sounding like a native speaker and sounding fluent in English. So if you want to improve your speaking skills, focus on collocations. And we're going to talk about different ways in which you can do that. So the best way to learn collocations is to learn them through reading in English. And there are different things that you can read depending on your level. So I'm going to give you some examples. If you're advanced, you can just use a novel. So that's a Richard Osman novel I've got here. And obviously there is a lot of writing in it and it is for the more advanced learners. If you're less advanced, you can use something like a recipe. So I've got a book here about eggs and that has slightly less complex language. And if you're a beginner or lower intermediate, you can use a children's book. So I've got a famous Julia Donaldson book here because that's got quite simple language. So we're going to start reading. This is quite an interesting recipe for pickled eggs. So I'm going to give you an example of a sentence. It says, place the eggs in a pan, cover with cold water and bring to the boil. So you've got your first collocation here, to bring something to the boil. It means to heat it up so much that the water is 100 degrees. It's boiling. So you bring something to the boil. It's a very common phrase when you talk about cooking. You will see it in recipes all the time. If you don't know this phrase, you might try to guess it. When you're speaking English, you might say to take something to the boil. And people will understand you, but you won't sound natural. And your goal is to sound natural. I'm going to give you another example from this novel. Chris has just been given a cup of tea. So a cup of tea is another collocation. You don't say a mug of tea. I mean, you can say that, but the fixed phrase that most native speakers will use is a cup of tea. And finally, a sentence from the children's book. It says, but the ladybird had a good idea and she whispered it into each animal ear. So to whisper something into somebody's ear is another collocation. So you whisper something into someone's ear. The next thing you want to do when learning collocations is write them down in your vocabulary notebook. Write down the entire sentences and highlight the collocations. Another way of learning collocations is when you're reading and there is a word that you don't understand. Let's look at an example. So I'm looking at the recipe book again. There is a curry recipe here and it says it's rewarding, but I don't understand the word rewarding. So I'm going to look it up in a dictionary. I'm going to find the definition of that. Then I'm going to look for various examples of sentences that use the word rewarding. Teaching English is very rewarding. I want to have a rewarding career. My colleague did a really good job and he was rewarded for his efforts. So you want to find 3 or 4 examples of sentences that use the word that you've just looked up. So you're not just learning the definition or the meaning of that word, you're also learning how it works in context, in sentences. So that is very important. And how is this going to help you with your speaking? It will show you how the word works in sentences, so you will become more familiar with it and you will find it easier to use it in conversations when you're speaking English. So these 2 different ways of learning collocations will significantly help you with your speaking because you will be learning language in context. So you will be more likely to sound natural when you're speaking English. I'm going to share some more tips in other videos, so make sure that you subscribe to my channel and don't forget to download your free grammar booklet from the description of this video. And I'll see you next time. Bye!